So, for our listeners who might not know what Code Hike is, can you explain to them the type of documentation experiences that you can produce with it?
Yeah, so it kind of mutated from B0 to B1, but right now it's a tool to like process content from Markdown and let you render it with React in any way you want, and it's especially good for technical content and for documentation where it has a lot of helpers for code blocks and you can build any type of layout really. We have a few in the documentation that you can copy and use, but it has a freedom to do anything you can do with React. You can render it.
Yeah, I think the first time I saw your content was a scrolly coding demo years and years ago, and it just blew my mind of how well it did at communicating what was happening on the page. It has lots of nice animations that come in from the side. It highlights lines, and it's all based on Markdown.
So when I first saw Code Hike, as you know, like Andrew was saying, it was like the thing that stood out to me was mostly is like highlighting line numbers as you sort of went along, like scroll through the example. Um, what sort of like motivated creating that? How did you get to the point where you're like, okay, I need a tool like this, and like for the initial goals, like what you're trying to accomplish?
Yeah, so that's how all started. It was actually in a blog post I was writing. I think it was 2017, um, when everyone was using Medium, the blogging platform. So I was writing a series of blog posts about how to build your own React. Right? It it went like step by step how to build a mini React from scratch, and I put a lot of effort in the content of those blog posts, but the like medium like the medium was like felt like very limiting to the way of how to present that content to the user. It feels like I have like some let me see how I can put it easy. Uh, it feels like you have like all the concepts in my head, and when I put it in Medium, the blogging platform, it flattened out all the content, and I couldn't explain that as good as I want. So it was very frustrating also because the web is a very powerful medium with small m, not big M, uh, and and it was I couldn't use it to express it in the way I want. So that took me on a long trip to finally build my own blog, my own blog with just one blog post. It took me a lot of time to build, uh, but now I have the freedom to present the content the way I wanted. And well, I rewrote the blog posts, and also it was at the same time that the React team was rewriting React, so the content was new too. So I took that as an opportunity to build it in a richer way, like in a more expressive way, and it really like it had like a really good reception from everyone. I saw a lot of people sharing it. It was like in the front page of Hacker News for almost one day, and still now people are still sharing that blog post from 6 years ago. So I think that the presentation of the content matter a lot in the way that like people received that blog post. It wasn't just the content, but I think mostly was the presentation. So yeah, and that's like for that blog I used like the first version of Code Hike. I mean, it was inside the blog. It wasn't a library then, but yeah, that was like the first version.
Yeah, we had Josh come out on a few episodes ago, and he mentioned that Like you want to code for the medium you're in. You don't want to just produce a dead fish when you're on a website where you can produce very rich content experiences. And it is definitely a much richer content experience when presenting stuff with CodeHike. You mentioned that a lot has changed from 0 to 1, and probably a lot has changed in the React ecosystem since you wrote that first demo. So, what was the journey like going from 0 to 1, and what work did it take?
Well, yeah. So the I don't know how to call the pre B1, so B0, uh, was like a set of components, of predefined components. Like you had like that scrolly coding layout. You have another one with like what kind of tabs but different. You have like a slideshow, but you can only use that component and maybe style them with CSS and good luck. Like that's all. So with B1, I wanted to not provide any component, any predefined component, and let like the user build those components, like use whatever component they want. I also provide those components as examples in the docs, kind of what like ChatCN does. You know, it's very popular right now to just provide the code and now it's your problem. Uh, so yeah, so that was the biggest change. That is now you can do a lot more stuff with CodeHack V1, but it's also harder because you have to do it yourself, right? So that's the trade-off. I'm pretty happy with that trade-off. Some people aren't as happy, but maybe because it's early, and the idea is that the ecosystem provide those components for you. If you want something that is plug and play and you have it like that, but it's there are some companies that are already using V1 and they are really happy with the flexibility. So I think it was a good choice.
Kind of the interesting thing here is so CodeHike is a tool for making Markdown content, like technical Markdown content, have these like very rich presentations and displays. But that means like you have to author the Markdown in such a way that you can like find places to hook into. And you know, there's like this has been a challenge for a long time. It's like, how do I enrich my Markdown to like really show what I'm like wanting to show? And some people will break out into HTML, and then you know others like Stripe famously created MarkDoc because they felt a Markdown just like wasn't enough. So talk a little bit about your approach. Is like how do you express the things that CodeHike can do in Markdown, and like what kind of decisions did you have to make, and like additions or
Yeah,
whatever?
yeah. So actually, that was like the movement from B0 to B1 in CodeHike. I spent like a lot of time thinking what was really the problem I was trying to solve, and the problem I found, like the limitation with Markdown, is that Markdown is actually like flat. It's if you go to the abstract syntax tree of Markdown, is a list of block components. You have like headings, paragraph, code blocks, quotes, lists, and you have the root and all these lists of block elements. You don't have nesting, right? Uh, and that gives you something flat. And when you need to map that flat content to something to a rich UI, you can kind of have a problem with because that list of elements doesn't have any structure, and you can manipulate it very good. It's not like when you are doing a query to a database and you get like structured content, right? And you can manipulate that. Well, not structured content, structured data, and you can manipulate that data and render it as you want, right? So I found that was the problem that I was trying to solve. So we needed like a bit more structure in Markdown to allow the freedom to render it then in any way. So you need structure to get freedom. So wait, what was the question? I forgot.
Well, just like how did you get over the limitations of Markdown? So I mean, just like
Yeah,
for example, it's like, oh, I want to display a code block, but I want it to have a highlight in it, and like Markdown doesn't have any opinions about that.
yeah. So to overcome that, I try to think like the less amount of change to Markdown to allow that structure. Mostly is like to have like a hierarchy, you know. And when you open a Markdown file, for example, on VS Code, you get like a little panel with the outline. I don't know if you say that you have like an outline, and that has a hierarchy, right? Because it uses each heading from the Markdown file to form a tree, like different heading with different levels, and you have a tree. So what I try to do is to use that like inherent like hierarchy in the Markdown content to structure the content, and then to let the anyone use it from a React component. So what CodeHive does is to add little annotations to the headings and to some other places to then parse those annotations and give structure to the content. And so when you import it in React, mostly in React, you can use it and have structured content.